Hey guys, it's Alex from Symphony Films, and today it's the day before Halloween, and I'm going to be counting down my top 7 favorite Halloween specials. This isn't going to be scripted or anything. I just have my list next to me, and I'm just going to talk about my favorite Halloween specials. So, let's get right into it. Number 7. Ghostbusters. Alright, so it's pretty easy to see why this makes the list, because it's obviously it's about ghosts, and that's what Halloween's all about, is ghosts and ghouls and goblins and all that stuff. I actually watched this last night. So for maybe the two of you that don't know what Ghostbusters is about, there are these scientists who discover that ghosts are real, and they start a ghost-busting business. And yeah, they just go around, they bust ghosts. But the thing about this is that it's so funny. Like, just so funny. Like, you can take like any like clip from this movie and it's just hilarious. So, all the characters are great. The villain is probably the villain is the only good villain really in the Ghostbusters franchise, I guess. So, I mean, there's not a lot I can say, honestly, that everyone else hasn't already said. It's Ghostbusters, it's funny, and I love it. And it's number 7 on the list. Number 6. Gravity Falls Summerween. Alright, so in case you don't know what Gravity Falls is, I'll just kind of give a quick rundown. So there are these two kids named Dipper and Mabel. They are sent by their parents to go live with their great uncle, or grunkle, Stan, in Gravity Falls, Oregon. And all sorts of supernatural, crazy things start happening. It's a wonderful show. Go check it out. It only lasted 2 seasons. It didn't get canceled or anything. It just wrapped up in 2 seasons. But it was really good and you should go check it out. So, honestly, you could probably take every episode and consider it a Halloween episode. But they specifically made a Halloween episode, which is interesting because the show takes place over a summer. And so it's really interesting that, well, how did you do a Halloween special? Well, it's because they say that the town of Gravity Falls likes Halloween so much that they actually celebrate it twice a year. And so we have Summerween. I'm not going to talk about this one too much, because it's just an episode and I don't really want to give away a lot of things, but it's really good and really, like, the animation is really solid. And of course the animation is solid throughout the rest of the show. But with this one particularly, it's very dark, because Halloween is dark. You know, a lot of his nighttime shots, it's very spooky, and the monster that they have in this is very clever. And it's a very Halloween monster without being just a horror monster, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but if you watch the episode, you'll know what I mean. So that's number 6. Number 5. Hotel Transylvania. Alright, so this is an interesting movie. So, this movie is about Dracula, played by Adam Sandler, actually, which is actually really interesting. It's probably his best performance, at least that I've seen. And I haven't seen that many Adam Sandler movies, so I don't know why I'm saying this, so yeah, Adam Sandler plays Count Dracula, who actually, after losing his wife, made a hotel for all monsters to be safe from humans. And his daughter, played I think by Selena Gomez, is about to turn 18. She wants to go explore the world. But Dracula is too overprotective, and especially when a human actually does come to the hotel, and they have to disguise him as a monster, and all these hijinks ensue, and it's just a really good, fun time. The jokes are really good. The animation is really, really good. For 3D animation, it's really fast. Like, this is really, really fast animation, and it really helps the movie. So, yeah, it's just a fun monster movie, and has a lot of jokes about all the monsters that are there, all the classic monsters. So, that is number 5. So let's move on. Number 4. Night of the Living Dead. So I actually only saw this movie for the first time Halloween of 2015. But I thought it was really fun. Now if you watch it, it's from, when is it? I think 1960 or sometime in the 60s. But it's a black and white film, which is interesting. It's, even though they had color, it was still black and white, and it's the movie that defined zombies. So if you go to like The Walking Dead or World War Z, all that stuff, there's most likely inspiration from Night of the Living Dead, because it really started the zombie movies. Now I could be wrong about that. I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure it is. If I'm wrong, politely leave a comment below. So the first time I watched this, it was really cool, because it was right after all the trick-or-treating was done, or at least most of it was done. There were still maybe 1 or 2 trick-or-treaters out, but you know, we were done with trick-or-treaters. And so we came in, obviously we turned off all the lights, and we all just grabbed some candy, you know, me and the family. We all just grabbed some candy, we turned off all the lights. The only light was the light of the TV. And that alone, if you watch any black and white movie, watch it in the dark. It's really cool. So we watched it in the dark, and it's just really interesting. It really puts you in that Halloween kind of mood, because obviously it's about these people that are held up in this house during a zombie apocalypse, and all these different colorful characters, and they're just trying to survive in this house. So it's really interesting, and there's not a lot of music, which actually works, because first off, it keeps you in that kind of that mood of Halloween. You know, everything's really quiet. You know, all you can really hear, the only thing you hear is the dialogue and like stuff on the radio, which is also dialogue. But yeah, so it's which is interesting that it doesn't have a lot of music, because if you actually go back to the 30s, like go back to Dracula and to Frankenstein, they didn't have a lot of music either, because that was around the end of the silent film era. That's when the talkies started, which today we just call movies. But the black and white talkies is when you could add in dialogue. You didn't just have to have something on screen telling you what the character said. And so they didn't think to put in music during the scene. And so that kind of carries over into Night of the Living Dead. And so it's this great fun Halloween movie. And so yeah, it's actually in the public domain, so you can find it for free here on YouTube, and I will leave a link below in the description to where you can easily find it. And if I don't know if I'll put like the other movies that are on the list in the description to where you can find them, but I might if I find them on YouTube. So yeah, that's number 4. Let's move on. Number 3. War of the Worlds. Okay, so if you watched my last video of 7th Hour Films Turns 2 Years Old, you might know that I wanted to review War of the Worlds for this video. So, but that didn't work out. So I'll just talk about it here real quick. War of the Worlds, I also watched, I think it was last year, and basically the reason why I technically consider it a Halloween special is because in 1938, on October 30th, Sunday, October 30th, 1938, 78 years ago to the day, there was a radio play being broadcast to America at night, and it was the War of the Worlds. But it was portrayed in a way, or performed in a way, that it wasn't just a regular radio play. You know, it was actually performed as a news broadcast. So it's like actually a news broadcast of like Martians coming down to Earth, and this caused a big panic, and it's this big Halloween thing, and so that's why I also considered the movie to be a Halloween movie. So also I will go ahead and I'll leave a link below in the description to the radio play where you can find it on YouTube. The entire radio play. It's really, really fascinating. I've listened to it for the past 3 or 4 years now. I've listened to it on October the 30th. So yeah, it's really cool. But let's talk about the movie. The movie is really interesting because I actually found out I think it had a $1 million budget in the 50s. Now you gotta think about that. That's a lot of money for a movie in the 50s. And you're watching the movie and it's like, where is the money going? The sets are really interesting, and the characters are okay. They're nothing special, and it's really just, you know, this fun little thing about aliens. You do see the aliens. They're like this weird slug thing that with a game of Simon as their face. I'll put up a picture like here. Yeah, there. So that's what they look like, and it's really weird, and you're thinking, okay, well, this is really fun. It's a really fun movie, but you're thinking, okay, where is this $1 million budget going? And then you get to the ending. The ending is insane because it's huge. This huge, over-the-top, like, battle. Not even a battle. It's just an invasion, like the full invasion of the Martians. This huge climax, and it's like, oh, that's where the budget went. So yeah, it's not an amazing movie, I suppose, but it's fun, and yeah, if you're doing, I don't know, a Halloween marathon or anything, consider putting that on the list, as well as these others. Honestly, all 7 of these. So that's number 3. Let's move on. Number 2. Spongebob Scaredypants. Alright, and I'm pretty sure this is from the first or the second season of SpongeBob. But this, and I'm sure they've had other Halloween specials, but this one stands out to me. So, in Bikini Bottom, it's Halloween. And SpongeBob wants to be scary, and he wants to be a ghost, but you know, he's a square sponge. So when he puts a sheet on, he looks like a square, and people are making fun of him because people call him like a mattress and stuff, and so it's like he wants to be scary. And so, see. And I can't remember all the details. I actually didn't... Stupid me, I didn't watch this before I made the video, because I'd watch it on Halloween or something. So that's clever old me, but I do remember it. So Patrick actually shaves... It's weird. He shaves some of his sponge off, and actually makes him more round, and he becomes a decent looking ghost. And so I think, let me try to remember the climax. I should have watched this before I did the video. But I think the climax is that the Flying Dutchman comes to the Krusty Krab where they're having a Halloween party. And I guess he's trying to determine who's the scariest, or he's trying to find someone who can scare him. Or something to this effect. I'm pretty sure. For some reason, someone needs to scare the Flying Dutchman. And so SpongeBob thinks that he's scary enough, and the Flying Dutchman is like, you're not scary. You're not even a real ghost. Or maybe he's looking for a real ghost. I don't remember. And he actually takes SpongeBob's sheet off, and it just shows, it doesn't show SpongeBob yet, and it just shows the expression on the Dutchman's face, and he's just terrified, and he flies out screaming, and it's like, what? How is he scared? And then it cuts back to SpongeBob, and he's a brain, 2 eyes, a mouth, and like a spine, like a spongy spine, and it's like, it's basically that Patrick shaved him so much that he was really, there was not a lot left of him, and he was just terrifying. So that kind of always stuck out in my head as a really great Halloween special, and you can probably find it on YouTube or on the internet. So that's number 2. I really love it. So let's move on to the last one. And my number 1 favorite Halloween special is Ed, Edd n Eddy's Boo Ha Ha. Alright, so this is something you should know about me. My favorite show of all time is Ed, Edd n Eddy. I love this show. I've loved this show since I was a kid. Since it aired in 1999. Like, what is that? Like, 17 years ago? Jeez, anyway. So, I love this show. So it stands to reason that this would be pretty high on my list, their Halloween special. So basically, Ed, Edd n Eddy want to find this place called Spookyville. They have this map, and apparently it gives out a ton of candy. And so they dress up in their costumes. Eddy dresses up as, like, zombie Elvis. Double D dresses up as the bubonic plague. And Ed dresses up as the mighty Lothar. And it's just hilarious, and it's really just them trying to go to Spookyville. That's pretty much the entire special, and interacting off of the different cul-de-sac kids that they always interact off of, but they're all dressed up. And actually, one of the things is that before they went trick-or-treating, Ed was actually watching an entire, like, marathon of, like, 200 horror films. And so it's kind of messed with his brain, to where every time he sees one of the kids, he imagines them as this horrible monster, and he attacks them. But remember, they're not a horrible monster, they're just a kid. And so it's just hilarious watching this moron with a spatula just attacking children. And meanwhile, Eddy is trying to find Spookyville, and Double D is trying to, like, control both of them, basically, or, like, keep them in check, I suppose, like he always does. So it's just this great, it's amazing, because it pretty much captures Halloween itself. Because, like, and it's kind of like Gravity Falls in that way, is that this really captures Halloween and being a kid and trying to trick-or-treat. So, and because, like, with Ghostbusters and Hotel Transylvania and War of the Worlds and Night of the Living Dead, those are great horror films, and they're great to watch on Halloween. They're not about Halloween, so that's the thing. So, yeah, this one really captures what it's like to trick-or-treat and, like, seeing, and if you watch too many horror movies, if it can mess with your brain as a kid. And it's just really fun and really funny, just like the rest of Ed, Edd n Eddy. So that's pretty much it. those are my top 7 favorite Halloween specials. Again, you can find Night of the Living Dead and the War of the Worlds radio broadcast in the description. So yeah, give those a watch if you want some more things to watch this Halloween. I don't know what we're gonna have next week, but I guess we'll see. So, that's basically it. I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy Halloween.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom.